Yo, what's going on? Yo, what's going on, guys? So, what the frick is going on with my light strips? Anyways, so, mutant deck profile. Actually, I'm actually mixing up some, what's the name? Dragma cards. Holy shit, I'm so tired. What's going on? But I'm actually putting some Dragma cards in the deck because obviously if you don't actually open your that's a spider, okay. If you don't open with MO5 or ST46, how do you win? This deck just relies way too much on these cards, and this is the reason why the testing for this deck was actually really, really dreadful, just not enjoyable at all. If you don't have one of these cards, really, the only way to win is just with the Dragma cards. I actually cannot tell you the amount of games that I, managed to win just because of simple Dragma beatdown. And of course, Nadir is actually just a very good card single-handedly. It's 2 interruptions on its own. It gets you that punishment, the trap card, and it also gives you a Fleur de Lis that's kind of like a Veiler during either player's turn. I mean, during either player's main phase, I guess. And I feel like this ratio is just perfect. One Fleur de Lis, you don't really want to draw it. One Maximus Dragma, it could help your opponent. If they send Elder Entity Entis, doesn't really change too much, but if they send Nova into Merkaba, it's a huge problem for you. And then of course 3 Ecclesia, and then we have 2 Mutant Beasts. I don't like the Arsenal and the Mist, the ones that you actually have to banish spells and traps, because this time it actually feels neggy, but with the monsters it's not too bad, and they are huge bricks. I mean, they're level 8s, they can't really be summoned too easily. Oh my god, it's just... yeah, bricking with them is frustrating as heck. And then of course 3 ST46, this is the guy that searches the spell and trap, and this, the MO5, it searches monsters, but their other effect is the exact same, so you can tribute them alongside a monster, a spell, or a trap, and then special summon a mutant monster depending on the card type that you banish. So if you banish a monster, you summon the beast, which is the only monster that in my build I can summon. If anything, you can actually play one mist, which is the one that requires you to banish a spell, or you can play one arsenal, which is the one that requires you to banish a trap card, because I do play a few of them, and if you banish Mutant Cry, there is kind of like a logic behind it, since you can actually just recycle it back when Mutant Beast is destroyed. But to be fair, they're like rarely destroyed, because I mean it has to be by your opponent's cards, so it's just asking for too much. This is like the kind of archetype that could have existed in 2015 and nobody would have said anything. But once again, it's a TCG exclusive. A lot of TCG exclusive always start by being garbage, and then it eventually becomes really, really, really good. So hopefully this is going to kinda... okay, I don't want this to be actually have the Spiral Double Helix treatment, but we never know. Just don't sleep on this deck. That's all I'm trying to say, really. So I'm not gonna say, oh, this deck is garbage, it has zero potential. Yeah, sure, right now it's not good, but it has the potential to be good, because honestly, when I see a deck that can play Dimensional Fissure and Macrocosmos, that's already a huge turn on for me. These cards are nasty, and this deck just doesn't care like at all about them. If anything, the only thing that actually kind of matters is that you lose the ability to use Disciple of Nadir and Dragma Punishment and also Maximus Dragma, but that's it, honestly. And obviously they're unsearchable one-ofs, and they are related to your mutant strategy, so this is just like to kind of give a bit more juice to your deck, because if you play Thunder cards, they achieve nothing at all when you don't draw Mutant cards, so they are a win more, whereas this, it's just a lose less. It's not a win more, because when your hand's already good, you don't really do anything more, but when your hand is bad, the Dragma cards allow you to not just pass and get OTK'd, for example. It's just an example, because Mutant Cry single-handedly does nothing, the Fusion Spell does nothing, and the field spell, whoa, it should be in my deck. Oh yeah, Evolution Lab also does nothing. The field spell should have allowed you to search a mutant monster from your deck to your hand, but then everybody would complain and be like, okay, never mind, this deck is way too consistent now, because obviously when one field spell does that, it means that you have basically four field spells, 3 and then 1 terraforming. That would have been too much, but yeah, instead of that, we just have no consistency. So maybe emergency teleport back to 3, because right now, we really need that consistency. And for the hand traps, I'm playing 3 Ash and 3 Infinite, which I feel like right now is, I guess, okay. It's just, if you play more hand traps, then your deck becomes even weaker when you can't play the game. So I had to kind of combine hand traps, plus floodgates, plus spot removal. Otherwise, yeah, you can play a lot of hand traps and draw them, but does that mean it makes your deck any better going second? Of course not. Not everyone loses to hand traps, come on. And if your hand breaks, I mean, what are the hand traps even doing? Buying you just a little bit more time so you can still die the turn later? Okay, sure. Nice strategy, bro. Anyway, Spot of Extravagance, I feel like it's just the best draw card by far in this deck. Obviously, Desires could also kind of work. The only ones that, yeah, Desires could work if you just play everything at 3, but Extravagance, honestly, there's just literally nothing to, banish, because you can easily play 3 Synthesis, 3 Ultimus, so yeah, this should be a good idea. But once again, when I make a deck profile, it's especially just to be ideas for you guys. Don't go copying this and expect this to actually work and be Dragon Link. No, 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 no. This is very casual at the moment. Very. And I'm saying this 27 times. It doesn't mean that the deck is complete trash for the rest of its existence. We never know. This is just the first wave of support. Yeah, and then the Mutant Fusion spell, I hate this card. It should have been like a full Shadow Fusion if your opponent used the card effect, because legit, it's just not even a one-card starter, and summoning this guy, the Mutant Synthesis, during your own turn, it's not even that broken. I just like summoning it during my opponent's turn with Cry, which I think is 65 billion times better. It also, just the requirement to activate it is just better overall. This relies way too much on your opponent. Just feels like you're playing more copies of 3 Tactical Talents, so imagine if you can't even play through what your opponent has in the first place, and then you're trying to add even more bricks to it. No, not today. Obviously, if you only play one, then it's searchable, because you have the ST46 that just searches any spells and traps, and this can search the ST46, so if you actually ETA-lead into this, it's absolutely perfect, but if you didn't, well, yeah, rip burrito. And yeah, one emergency teleport, no shit, unfortunately, man. Imagine if you could actually splash Cosmos in this deck. Obviously wouldn't have any synergy, would be cute though. But yeah, Thunder Dragon cards, Giant Rex and Shiranui Spirit Master are just the main, I guess, kind of splashable, not really engines that you can, you know, play in this deck. I actually used to play like a very small zombie engine where I play 3 Spirit Master because it's really good to banish off of your mutant cards, and then Solitaire, it's decent to banish because you can revive back a Spirit Master from the banish, but apart from that it does nothing. But Solitaire is supposed to be your normal summon when you don't draw ST46 or MO5, so you can go into Uni-Zombie, send Mizuki, and then either make a level 8 Synchro or a rank 4 Xyz. It's decent, but I mean, does it really, once again, make your deck go become broken all of a sudden? No. And also, once again, I did not want this deck to become one of those annoying, you know, needle fiber decks, again, just that relies on needle fiber. That's just lame. Everyone can do that, and it just, you know, ignoring the fact that needle fiber is at a high risk in the ban list. Obviously, it's gonna get a huge nerf. I mean, a huge ban. The combo strategy is gonna get a nerf, but yeah. And also, I mean, if you really want to play Needle Fiber, you can easily play some Crusadia cards, because the MO5 and ST46 and even Ash are El Mirage targets, so they give you a zone, and then you can start summoning your Crusadia monsters, maybe do some cool plays. If you want, you can play the Sacred Beast package, which is a 1 card into Curious combo. That might actually be able to fuel your graveyard, so your Mutant Cry could actually be just more live. And Trap Trick into Mutant Cry is also one of my personal favorite moves. So yeah, just because of the fact that when you banish Mutant Cry, you have an additional mutant card in the banish, so when Beast dies, for example, you can actually recycle back like a Mutant Trap card, because for some reason, they don't say target one of your banished mutant cards. It actually has to be the specific type, which once again, I don't know why. It's not even like it was broken anyways. This card is a huge brick. It's literally, I mean, it's Attack a Tumborg, not a Garnet, because even if you draw 2, you can still summon it from your hand with the little mutants, but I mean, come on, it's just, they had to make it too balanced. Once again, I'm sure Konami would be like, okay, yeah, but if we make them broken, you guys complain. So basically, at the end of the day, the player base will complain about literally everything that Konami does, so who are we to even criticize others? But yeah, 2 Trap Trick, I like this card, I'll explain why. 2 Dragma Punishment, yeah, this is nice, man. You can search it with Ecclesia, and you can search it with Trap Trick. Not bad, not bad. And then, of course, 3 Mutant Cry. 3 there can only be 1. Notice that the small boys are Psychics, the big boys are Beast, Spellcaster, and I forgot the other one, Arsenal. I actually forgot, but it is actually a machine. Yeah, so different types, always. And also, these guys, the Dragma cards are Spellcasters. That's perfect. That's literally exactly what we want to be able to play There Can Only Be One. So up until now, the only things that are absolute, like, set in stone in this deck, for, I guess, I want to say, for all time, are 3 ST46, 3 MO5, you know, maybe 2 copies of Mutant Beast would be optimal if you don't want to break too much, and if you don't want to draw it every single time. But I mean, if you want to be able to summon it when you draw it. 3 Extravagance, I feel like this is set in stone. This could actually become a 3 of, depending on what kind of support we get. Emergency Teleport, once again, it could actually go back to 2 or 3. If Needle Fiber gets banned, summoning a tuner from your deck, really not that broken anymore. Especially if Martial Marcher gets banned, because if Needle Fiber gets banned, when Martial Marcher and Link Cross both exist at the same time in a format, it's kind of like if nothing really changed, honestly, because you can still easily make Martial March into Herald, play through hand traps as if nothing ever happened, so just banning Needle Fiber definitely isn't enough to kill combo once and for all. And then, was there anything else I had to say? Not really, I think this is enough. And then, yeah, of course, the Macrocosmos. For the extra deck, I'm going to try to go relatively quick, so 3 Ultimus, 3 Synthesis. Ultimus, basically, when a card or effect is activated, you can banish a mutant card from your hand, field, or graveyard, I believe? From your graveyard, yeah, exactly, or face, yeah, hand, graveyard, or face of field that matches the type of card or effect your opponent used. So they use a spell, you can banish a mutant spell from your graveyard, mutants, you know, Mutant Fusion or Mutant Evolution Lab, and then you negate the activation and destroy, and if Ultimus is actually destroyed, if this fusion summon card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card effect, you can add up to 3 of your banished mutant cards with different types from each other. So 1 monster, 1 spell, 1 shop. You're not allowed to actually go like 2 monsters, 1 spell, for example. No. It's really a maximum of 1 of each, and you can only grab 3 cards with that. So it's cool, but realistically, I just feel like Synthesis is infinitely better. It's easier to summon, obviously, because it's just 2 mutant monsters with different attributes. And this is just like 3 level 8 or higher mutants. Like, are you crazy? And this is why I play Disciple of the Deer, just so I can actually like get a lot of cards from my extra deck to the graveyard and kind of just cheat the summoning condition of this. Because you know, thanks to Mutant Cry, I can actually use the materials from my graveyard and my banished. So even if I don't play like 3 of the level 8 main deck monsters, I can still summon Ultimus relatively easily. Because like I said, just Ecclesia into Maximus Dragma or Nadir, it literally gets me almost the full like summoning condition for that. Even if I banish it with a Maximus Dragma, it's all good. I can shuffle back from my banished as well. But yeah, Synthesis definitely usually the way to go, honestly. And then, yeah, 3. I love reading Bastard, the Ashen Dragon, it's funny, but yeah. Titanic Lad, the Ash Dragon. It's cool, obviously, if you're playing Dragma cards, then you're always gonna have this in your extra deck. If your opponent Maximus Dragmas you can get to send 1 Entis and 1, you know, Titanic Lad, so that actually gets an engine going, which is really cool. During the end phase, you summon Ecclesia, you search Fleur de Lis, and you're already kind of set up for their turn. That's nice. And then, of course, Anaconda. Anaconda is cool when you're going second. You don't necessarily have enough, you know, mutant cards. You only have like 1 maybe. It's like a level 8 that's bricky. So then if they activated a card or effect, you can literally just use 2 Dragma cards or just any cards that didn't... I mean, Dragma cards only if they didn't use their effect. I mean, Ecclesia, for example, or even Maximus Dragma stops you from summoning the extra deck, both of them. But yeah, if you didn't have to use any of those effects, you can go Anaconda and just send Mutant Fusion from your deck, and then use a material from your graveyard, and then from your deck, and obviously you can always use the material from your hand or field. So yeah, it kind of just allows you to use all 4, but yeah, seriously should have been like a full Shadow Fusion, because it's not even broken in the first place. Yeah, and then Secure Gardena and El Mirage, it's just because I want to be able to get a Link monster in the graveyard for Maximus Dragma in case my hand's not the greatest. So if I only have like this, or I mean, so that's a really bad example, because if I have just any mutant card, my hand is already like small mutant card, my hand is already like relatively playable because I can get into Beast. And yeah, and by the way, really funny thing is that when the mutant cards were kind of like announced on the... I guess it was not a live stream, it was a premiere, something like that Konami actually made. A lot of people were like, oh shit, Mutant, oh, reptiles, alien support, let's go, we're gonna buy out Snake Rain. Imagine getting cucked that hard when you realize that they're psychics, beast, machines, freaking spellcasters, everything except reptile. LMAO. What a huge waste of time, don't kill me. And for the idea section, like I said, I mean, I literally explained everything. Gold Sark, really cool if you're playing Shirano Spirit Master, honestly. But yes, that's pretty much all there is to it. If the field spell eventually becomes broken, you could play 3 with then Terraforming and then Mystic Mine. Maybe make this deck a going second deck, I have no idea. But that's pretty much it for my deck profile. If you guys have any comments or feedback, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, blah blah blah. I will see you tomorrow. Peace!